Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I'm gonna explain about the brown-gibson method. But previously, I'm gonna tell you a little about the brown-gibson method. What is the brown-gibson method? Here is the decision model. We can say that is a mathematical decision-making model that is very integrating, but quantitative, both of quantitative and qualitative factors, or we can say that it's integrated, but it's subjective and objective factors. So it is a very powerful, especially brown-gibson method on plant selection. So we can start on this case study. Suppose that I have a company that I give its name as a Minimax company. Minimax company is a manufacturing company that produces automotive spare parts. So the project requirement is the one of the most important steps here that we have to project the requirement of our company. So because it is the manufacturer company that produces the automotive spare part, I projected the requirement of my company is proximity to raw materials and energy availability, which is, we know that a manufacturer company that produces process the metal, that is a very energy intensive industry. So we have to ensure that the energy availability of the site that will be selected here, that is have the good energy availability and the proximity to raw materials. And the next we can consider the objective factor. I consider here are the cost of transportation of raw materials, cost of wages, cost of requirement in energy, and taxes involving of several taxes. And then the last one is the subjective factor. For me, I consider only the population attitude, education, which is the school, and quality of life. It's also involved the noise and air pollution, or maybe that's a good fresh water, or others that they related with the quality of life. And you can, of course, rearrange your subjective factor, consider your own subjective factor. Is not, it have to be same like my case study. No, you can change any depending on your subjective factors. So why it is very powerful? Because it can integrate it between the objective and subjective factor, which is we can rearrange the objective and subjective factor depending on our consideration. And then after screening several locations, three alternative locations were determined to be considered, namely that the location is A, B, and C. And I stated in my last statement here that management considers that the weight of objective factors 4 times as important as that of subjective ones. So I state here that the objective factor is 4 times important than the subjective one, 4 times important than subjective one. So you can state based on your argument, maybe you want to say that the objective factor is the equal, or it's equal or the same important as the subjective factor. Is depend on you, but in this case, in my case, I say that objective factor 4 times more important than the subjective ones. Let me start with to find the total cost. Okay, to find the total cost from the transportation, I'm gonna say that the transportation here 5 from the site A, where the transportation refers to the transportation of raw material, it's $5.42 million for the annual. It is the annual cost. Please give attention here that it is the annual cost in a million in a dollar. So it is the $5.42 million for the for year. And also like this site B revert to the annual cost in a million in a dollar, and the wages, you can put the wages and the requirement of energy, and also for the tax. And then we need to sum all of this 5.42 plus 6.18 plus 5.31 and plus 0.48, and it will be the total CI, or C in A, or we can say the total cost is 17.39. And then we have to get the reciprocal of this one of the cost, and it is 1 divided by the 17,39, we will get this value is 0.057. And you can also do for the other one, and the total or the sum of this one is of this column is 0.164. After we find the total cost, we calculate the objective factor of A, B, and C. Sorry, this one is C, right? And then after we calculate this one, we can use the equation 17 times 3, 9, which is equal to the CA, CB, and CC. Here is CA, here is a CB, and it is a CC, or the cost, and it is the total of reciprocal. Yeah, times, and it is, and then so 17 times 0.39 times 0.164 to the power of -1 here. So we get this value, and then please sum this all of the value here, and if you get this number, so your summing process in here is correct, but please ensure that you will get this number 1. To make it easier, please use the Excel or such application like that to help you easier to calculate this one to the specific number. And then please find the relative importance of subjective factor. We have the subjective factor here, the population attitude, the education, and the quality of life. It is the population attitude. Here it is the population attitude, here is education, and also this one is quality of life, and we cannot compare each other when the factor is the same, so I give the black color here because we cannot compare this one. By using the pairs comparison, we try to compare in the population attitude with the education. So I'm going to say that the population attitude for me, because it is very subjective, and it's the subjective factor, and it is very qualitative, so for me that's the population attitude is more important than education, so I give the value for the 1, and I write 0 for the pairs for the education compared with the population, because I state population attitude is more important than education. So here education is not more important than the population attitude. So the value here we can write only between 0 to 1. But if you say, if you think that it is the same important or is equal by this one, so I think that the population attitude is as important as the quality of life, so I give the 1 value here and also this one here. And then after that, please give the sum of preferences 2, 1, 1, so the total will be 4, and after this one you can divide 2 divided by 4, you get 0.5. Also the same way, please calculate this one and the result will be 1. Next, we try to evaluate each of the subjective factor. First, we start from the population attitude. We're going to compare between the population attitude from the side A, side B, and side C. So, like previously, I said that we cannot compare the same way, the same factor, the same side. So I give it a black color, and then I'm going to compare A and B, between A and B, side A and B, in a population attitude term. So I'm going to say that side A is better than side B in a population attitude. So I give the value 1 here. I write 1, and I write null 0 here, or the null, because why? Because I state here that side A is better for the population attitude than B, so B is not better than A for the population attitude. But if you think that it is same important, you can write 1 1. So please remember this one, you can only write 0 to 1, and then you can sum the preference here by using the same way. To divide it by 4, you'll get 0.5, and sum all of them here and you get the 1 or 100%. Next to the other factors or subjective factors, the education. Compare by using the same way, you will get the total here is 0. Yeah, it's depends on you. So I got my case study here. After I make this case study, my decision is to give this 0 number, and it's the 1 and it is 2. So divide 0 divided by 3, it will be 0. 1 divided by 3, it will be 0, 3, and 2 divided by 3, it will be 0, 6, 7, and the sum is 1. Next to the quality of life, evaluate the factor of the subjective factor in the quality of life. I'm going to compare this A to B. I'm going to say that B is better in quality of life. So B is better than A. I write here 1. So it means that A is worse than B. So I write here 0. Please sum by using the same way. Divide 1 with the 4, you will get 0.25, and the sum this one you will get 1. So the summary here, we have get the relative importance index. So this is the summary. Population about the population attitude, A is the higher one with the 0.5, and for the education, C is the higher one, and for the quality of life, B is the higher one with the 0.5, and the relative importance index is 0.5, 0.25, 0.25, and 1 is the total of the relative importance index. And then calculate the subjective factor of E, SFE. So the subjective factor here, we can calculate the subjective factor of A. Subjective factor of A is 0.3125 by using the weighted of G times the relative importance of RAG. So we can also factor this one it like this. For the A, 0 times 0.5 times 0.5 plus 0 times 0.25 plus 0 times 0.25 times 0.25. So you will get this one. Yeah, using the same way, you will get this one and also this one, and the sum it will be 1. Okay. And then the last one is we have to calculate the LPMI, or that's the location preference measurement. Yeah, it's the most important here. Please don't forget what you have stated, what I have stated in my last statement in the first slide, that in the second slide, that I stated the weight of objective factor is 4 times of subjective factor. So it means 0.2 times 4 is 0.8. So the equation here, the outcome will be equal to K times objective factor of E plus 1 minus K times subjective factor of E. So by using this equation, you will get this number. You get this number also, and the total it will be 1. So according to the brown-gibson approach, the Minimax company must choose that the site A, since the answer is the highest value for location measure. But we can see that because I state that the objective factor is 0.8, it's very influenced the result, because when we know that the weight of subjective factor of subjective factor of site A, it is the lowest. It is the lowest than others. But because I state that objective factors is 4 times more important than subjective factor. We can check the objective factor. The objective factor of site A is the highest one. So the result is I have to choose the minimum company must choose the site. Thank you.